Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Game and we're returning to War in the East, our little let's play of the German offensive on Moscow in 1941. We've just made our moves. It is now time to hand it over to the Soviets. In between episodes I did just adjust a couple of things, moved forwards our aircraft mainly, did some reorganizations, strengthened the positions down here at least a little bit so that we have some fortified zones down here attached with a couple of construction battalions, so these guys should hopefully be starting to provide some fortifications down here, and that hopefully will be alright. But our main objective is of course Moscow, and that is a big issue because I think we are a little bit further than the Germans were historically at this point in time, sort of mid-November 1941. The Germans did get up to probably around here at this point, and they did actually get to Klin. I think that was one of the furthest advances they made, but we're about a week ahead of them where they were historically. But I have reason to believe that only next week is going to be open for us to campaign, and whether or not we'll be able to cross these two rivers over here, really close the gap without very far advanced beachheads over here and units, that I think is very unlikely, but we'll have to see. At least we are bringing up our railroads, so let's see whether that is going to be successful. But we're going to hand it over towards the Soviets and see what they're going to do over here. Let's end the turn and see what's going to happen. I am very afraid about a winter offensive. I think historically it was started in December 1941, but on the other hand we did much better. There's an area... Oh, wait a minute, let's pause over here. I don't want to see what's going on. So we have some Soviet forces around Kaluga here that are trapped in encirclement, and a small encirclement down here at Kuchelsk, I guess is how you call it. I don't think they'll be able to break out, but we'll have to see what's happening there. So what's going on here? They are sending up some reinforcements. Oh yeah, they are sending some supply up here with 15 IL-4s. 4 of which are shot down, so that's nice to see. Let's see what else is going to happen. It's mostly the logistics phase, I would think, so I don't know whether they are actually already advancing here. Yeah, and this position down here is a little bit awkward as well, because we have definitely lost a little bit of stuff down there. What's going on here? The Soviets are sending in some... Yeah, I think it's just recon. Yeah, this is mostly recon. They're not really losing planes. We have a couple of Bf-110s that are defending. Oh, there's a fighter going down. That's nice to see. It's only really small stuff, really. Yeah, not much happening here. Another fighter lost and a recon plane lost. That's nice. And they are trying to reconnaissance our forces down there. Down here in the south, we are a little bit exposed. But on the other hand, their lines are extremely thin as well. They're withdrawing some of their forces. Ooh. Axis forces attacking, Soviet forces defending. Why on earth are they? Not really sure what's going on here. Let's see. Okay. Nevertheless, so... Really not sure what was going on there. Okay. Nevertheless, so Urel, I think, is still defending. Here we go. They are taking us over here. They are taking our forces here. And this probably is the Soviet counteroffensive. This is 90,000 men attacking our 7,000 men. Of course, our troops are losing heavily. But they are killing quite a couple of Soviets here. Including around 50 tanks. And that is the first shock army. So I think that is indeed the Soviet counteroffensive that we are seeing over here. With all of these troops that are coming in and that just more or less popped into existence over here. Or did they come up from the south? We'll have to see about that. But that is definitely a very big hit on us here. Lots of damage on our forces. Lots of damage. Really not that great. They've committed so much there. On the other hand, I think... Oh, they have reconquered Klim, so that is something that we need to keep in mind. Oh, and they have isolated us down here. That is a big issue. That means we are not getting supply here now, and that means we can pretty much write off any advance towards cutting off Moscow. And I think we have reason to believe that next turn is going to be a blizzard turn, as it was at least historically. So yeah, November 1941. Okay, here we are. So a lot of Soviet losses, but a lot of Axis losses as well. They are going on 90,000. We've lost already a couple of, even in this turn, we've lost a lot of tanks. It's just like 11 tanks or so lost on our side. Yeah, not going that great. So let's have a look over here. So as we thought, one of our tank units is cut off from supply over here. You have a little bit of movement. Yeah, you basically have no movement points. Just 2 movement points. That's basically nothing. And over here we must see that the 900th Layer Division is going on about 50% of its nominal capabilities. So yeah, it's really drained. Heavy infantry guns are fine. Everything else seems to be a little bit low, especially tank destroyers. Yeah, you were hammered pretty heavily over here on this side, including by this 6th Scalp Division, and all of these forces are around. Although it seems to me that they have reduced the advances or reduced the defenses around Moscow itself a little bit, so they pulled up quite a couple of forces north. Let's go along the front. I don't think there's any change over here. That looks pretty much as we left it. They did advance a little bit down here with this division, the 298th Rifle Division. It's a pretty normal division. A lot of headquarter units up here. Maybe it is worthwhile to drive up north. These pockets are still around, and that is very good to see, because that means we can probably reduce that, and that shall be lovely. And down here in the south they really actually withdrew quite a bit over here, and that is definitely very nice to see for us. And also we've got a single tank brigade over here. It's not the world, it's a little force, but I think it will be nice to bob that and just make sure that we have some forces down here that could potentially hold off any Russians. And there are a lot of air bases over here. You could actually come here and take out these air bases to some extent at least. Nevertheless, good so far. Ooh, I think they crossed over here. I think they were not in this hex before. So they are making some advances. I don't think they will be able to break through too quickly, but we'll have to be aware of that at the very least. And over here, nothing really that I can see that has developed. Alright, yeah, but this over here is unfortunate. I mean, we do have at least we on this side of the defensive line, but then again, how would we break through all of these units here? We'll have to see whether that is possible to do down there. But yeah, I'm very skeptical whether we will be able to do anything over here. Yeah, and the forecast is blizzard, and blizzard is no good for us. German forces, surprisingly enough, were not really prepared for the blizzard conditions, so yeah, that is definitely a big downside. These forces down here are in supply, but more or less a little bit just barely. We are building up the rail heads from over here. Nicely enough, you are connecting these rail heads up there, so that's good. Also, we are itching closer towards Orel, which is also very nice, because that means we will be able to supply that a little bit better. Our most important drive obviously is up here in the north around Moscow, and there's a little bit of an issue in that we cannot really bring our forces. Where are my railheads? Railroad repair units. I think there must be one over here somewhere. Yeah, that's FBD 3. I think we should have FBD. Now you're just a construction group. Also, I want to know whether one is over here. Yeah. One of the issues was that we had a unit, that we had 3 units over here, and they were never really building up these railroad lines into that direction. But that should be okay now. Right, so yeah, definitely up here we want to build straight due east, and I think that's gonna be okay. So yeah, that is pretty much without question, so let's do that first before I forget that, and that would be kind of horrible. We had that already once. Take that unit to move it up. Why are you going this way? It's always a little bit weird to do that. I think it's due to the river crossing. Right, so that's a nice advance, I think there. That's 3 lines, and this should make these units fairly well supplied. That should be pretty good, yeah. Very nice. But where's the other one? It's not you guys. Oh, it's down here. Okay, in the city itself. I didn't know that. Okay. So the question is, do we want to build down here across this way? I think the issue is slightly that is a very big detour if we want to go to Moscow. We could also build up directly sort of this way, but on the other hand, the flip side would be that the area down here is maybe not that well supplied. On the other hand, I think the northern route is probably the more promising one, and probably the more important one, because if we cannot encircle Moscow, we'll probably have to try a direct assault there, and I'm not too convinced that that is going to be a good idea. That being said, I think you guys do need to come up. Well, here we could probably build up these 2 tiles. There we'd be probably limited to 1. Maybe another one. Don't think so. No, not really. Yeah, but I think this is just more promising. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, and that is sort of very clean as well. Right, let's get you over here. Repair this. Come up over here. Do repair that. Oh, it's pretty nice actually. So yeah, we do have a decent rail line. It's sort of parallel. I'm still a little bit concerned that there are some bottlenecks over here. Where basically every single bit of our supplies flows through this part of the railway line. So it would be very nice to get this here linked up or this linked up there, so that we have no partisan issues, but for now we're going to be alright. Right, so let's have a look down here and just bop these things that are currently out of supply on the Soviet side. And I just want to know whether any of our guys have very good fortification levels here, so that we're not unnecessarily using that. Right, you can advance really far anyway. You could disturb some of these headquarters. I don't think that's very useful. So let's simply do an attack over here. That's a very nice number of 70 or so tanks that we captured, a couple of artillery pieces and a couple of Russians. Not that drastically important, but still nice. Okay, you can go to this fortified hex, and I think you guys here will all be alright. There's no fortification level, there's no fort here, but they are building up some fortification levels, so I think that's gonna be alright. You here could come back to this city. I think that's gonna be alright and lovely. Likewise, you're gonna come here, and that should enable us to at least present a somewhat coherent front. I guess you could come up here, and then you could go here. Why would you go this way? I would like to capture this town, but is it really that useful? Probably not. Okay, let's bring you here. And this gentleman can then come up here. Yeah. So very coherent front down here in the south. Somewhat fortified. Actually very happy about this. How are the fortification levels in Rel going? 78%. And how much construction value are you providing currently? Only 7. I thought you'd be a little bit better, honestly. Right, and this headquarter, you are assigned to some headquarter, right? The 13th Corps. So yeah, I just want to make sure that our supply situation down here is... We've got a gun battalion, which has heavy artillery, 105mm. And you've got the howitzer battalion, which has even heavier artillery. And I think artillery would be very good to provide in these fortifications. And there must actually be some more over here. You've already got a howitzer battalion. And there is no construction battalion. So I think what we're going to do here is detach you and assign... well, why not the howitzers? Nice and heavy artillery. I think that should be okay. Your construction value hasn't really increased. Decreased, actually. That is a bit surprising. But oh my, I won't complain. Right, can you get the construction value of 2? Can't assign the construction value at this point, but that should be okay. Right, you are building up fortifications as well, I suppose, though? Are you? Come on, 50%? Yeah. This here is... I would really like to break them there, but I don't think that's possible. So yeah, the next big issue then are these tanks up here. You have 8 attack strength. These guys have a little bit less, really. So, not that much. Well, we could attack. Don't want to attack right now because I probably want to do some recon missions first. I'm never quite sure how much our units can take in that regard. Right, so let's send... Oh, you've got a lot of units over here now. We've got fairly good eyes on them. Not really so much over here. Yeah, just sending over a couple of recon guys over here I think is very appropriate to make sure that we have good detection levels on all of them. Getting to Moscow would be so important. I don't think there is a way to win this scenario without capturing Moscow itself. But alright. Good, okay, let's start bombing these guys down here. I think you're very well suited for that. Let's at least try to do that. We could do a deliberate attack. But hopefully this could be enough. No, absolutely not. Let's pause here for a second. They've got a very good modification down over here. Fort has been reduced just slightly. But yeah, it's an entire tank division, so that should be kept in mind. We're losing only 30 guys though. They're losing 30 tanks already. Off their 400 though. Still, that was not a good result for us. Okay, they held pretty nicely. And they have 200 tanks over here. Okay, let's try to bomb these guys. That's a lot of units. I don't think that many units are quite necessary. Probably a couple of level bombers should be fine. You're not that far away, are you? No. Okay, let's use about 70 bombers or so. Let's bring in a couple of fighters. I hope you are coming in as fighters. And you guys as well. Let's launch. Bombs. They are not even bringing up fighters. Only lost a little bit in damaged equipment though. Right, so let's do a deliberate attack now. Yes! So this time we have a much better modifier. They have about the same one actually. But we ooh. But we... How is it that we haven't gotten them to surrender? I would have very much thought that we would. No, they must have surrendered. I'm fairly convinced that that was... No, they must have surrendered. I refuse to believe anything else. They should be done with it by a hasty attack? Yeah, surrendered. No, I think that was just due to the fact that we didn't get the confirmation there. Right, very nice down there. So that is... How many guys were there in this turn? This turn, man captured 11,000. So a number, but not that meaningful really. Right, so let's start bombing these guys up here then. I think what we could do... Well, this is only cavalry division. Then again, cavalry divisions can't do really that much. You could come up here. You could come up here as well. This would be a meaningful attack. Let's try this though. Not enough. They are holding out. We're losing quite a bit actually. Let's try another time though. Well, they are holding out still. Last time. Nope. We are losing men here. That was not a good attack. Right then. Okay, so Really, I just want to try to make this without taking too many movement points. 2 tank brigades and a militia rifle division. Let's try. Yeah. More than enough. 8,000 men surrendering. Very good result there. Good. Right. These are mostly fortified regions down here. There's a tank, small tankish brigade. Suppose we could try to attack these guys, but it would be across a river, and I don't necessarily like to do that. This is a number of rifle divisions, actually. Let's try to do this here first. Yeah, very good. 20,000 men, 14,000 surrendering. One is retreating. That's surprising. Right, and you're retreating into the fortified region. Probably you do actually have some fortification levels there, yeah. Well, that might have been not great. Okay, nevertheless, let's try to attack here. Hasty attack. Still alright. 8,000 men should surrender right there. And then we can bring you up here. And attack into either way. I think this here... I mean, they retreated over here. Okay, let's try. That was just enough. 10,000 men surrendering. Very good. And it was just enough. It's really not that decisive. But still, very good. Okay, you can come up here. You couldn't really cross the river and still attack. So you would have to really attack across the river. But that's fine. These guys here should surrender very quickly. Ooh, you're not... 14,000 men. I think I haven't even taken any losses. Right. That attack was fairly unsuccessful. Okay, let's bring you across here. Let's attack. That's a fairly good attack. 8,000 men surrendering. I mean, 8,000 doesn't really sound that much, but still the Soviets don't really have that much either, so all in all, that's not a bad result. Well, you could come here and try to attack across the river, but again, I really don't fancy doing this. On the other hand, no one can attack here. Okay, let's bring you here. Can you attack there? Yes, you can. Retreated? How can you be retreating? You should be shattered. Right, nevertheless, that's a fairly good result there. Right, and then we've got this unit here. I think we're going to bring you down instead of bringing you down there. Simply so we have all of these guys a little bit bunched up and closer together. Okay, you're coming here. You're attacking there. Yes. More surrendering. I like to see that. Come down here. Attack this. Very good. 40-to-1 ratio. That is what I like to see. Good stuff. No one else really? You could come up there. And I suppose that's what we're going to do, and we are going to attack a group. Okay, maybe not. Damn it. Okay. That was a mistake. Right, nevertheless, everything else there seems to be fine. I think we will be building up this railroad in due time. There are a couple of rail repair units just itching, or just slowly going this direction anyway. So that seems to be fair enough. Good, 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 good. Right, we could bring some of you back here towards Kaluga itself. Is there a particular need why we should need to take it this turn? And again, they don't have any frontline units. It's only support, construction, guns, and mortars. How can you hold out? Really? Okay, you are fine though. You're fine. You can't really come up there. Probably you can't either. Okay, so we have to use someone else. The pink units are probably gonna drive directly onto Moscow, while the cyan units are just probably, hopefully, kind of going this way. I would also like to take these tiles over here so that we can link up these radar lines and provide better supplies towards this area down here. All of these green units are probably going to just move due east, whereas these guys here are going to spread out, provide some cover against the north. I'm really not that sure whether these guys are currently supplied. I don't think they are showing up as completely unsupplied. No, only our two units here. One of their unit, one of ours, is showing up as completely unsupplied, as isolated at the very least. But again, we have cut this railway line from Moscow, so I'm not sure whether Kalinin and all of this is still connected. It might be. It might be that there is some supply being routed by these railway lines, but I'm not sure that counts actually, or whether it's only on-map supply. I would suppose it's only on-map supply, but I don't know. I suppose what we could do is just try to attack one of these cavalry divisions here. Maybe this one. So you're just retreating, you're not really shattering. And you have lost a couple of units there, but not quite as many as I would like to see. There are some victory provinces up here, this one and Kalinin itself. This one is a 300 point swing. This one is a 550 point swing, so this one is really important. But yeah, if these guys are still getting some supplies, we probably have to reinforce these positions down here. I don't suppose we can push them up very aggressively. We could try to get to the Volga. I think that might be tenable. Push up here. This one is we'll not be able to take these guys out, I believe. How can they be so strong? 9 defensively. Yeah, but just getting here would be nice. If these railway lines are coming up, I think that's doable. And yeah, other than that, we will have to see whether we can directly attack Moscow with the remaining forces that we have. At least they did remove some of their forces, and that is already fairly nice. This here is West Moscow, North Moscow, Moscow. This one would be the main prize, but behind the river I don't think that's possible. This one here at least is a fair number of victory points, I think. 200 at the end of the game. Real Moscow though is 500 and 100 for every turn that we hold it. So that would be a fairly nice win over here. It would be nice if it did show who currently controls these towns. I mean, Moscow is a 1,000 point swing. I think that alone is the determining factor for this campaign. But even there, I mean, you can see sort of on the victory points, they've lost 1 million men. We've lost 200,000, and we are equal on points because it just counts so much less than it does for them. So yeah, we really have to. I mean, we can consistently get a 5-to-1 ratio, but only up to a point. Currently, we have 1.3 million Soviet forces. We did kill more Soviets and take more Soviets as prisoners than historically the Germans did at this point, so that is at least good to see. How many were this turn actually? I think we can see that over here, can't we? Yeah. It's 100,000 Soviet losses, and 80,000 of these are men captured, so that is fairly nice. I mean, it's a good result that we are achieving here, but is it good enough? I don't know. It feels like we're winning the battles, but we're not winning the war. And they have so many forces up here now. I mean, the further we go south, the less it seems to be. But, again, we are extremely thinly spread here as well. And I think Kursk is not a victory point province, so that doesn't really change anything. This province here is, but only 200 points, and I think going there would really. We have to keep in mind that next turn will probably be a horrible turn for us. I mean, getting here and sort of immediately just raiding these air bases would be nice. What have they got down here? A couple of IL-4s. It's mostly recon bases. So it's 3 air bases, but not that many airplanes. 30, 40, 50 maybe. Maybe 60 airplanes, mostly recon planes. No, probably that's not worth it. We would expend supplies, we would expend more and more forces, so I don't think that's something that we want to do. I'd actually send some forces up here in the north. Even cutting Tula would probably be not that, wouldn't really be worthwhile. Best thing that we might want to do is just push through here and attempt a large encirclement. But it's really, the Russians have already started their counteroffensive really up here in the north. This is a massive presence. 3 rifle divisions, number of cavalry divisions and brigades, more rifles, and a guard division. It's tough. It's gonna be extremely tough. Even this year I think we cannot really hope to break. I mean, our guys down here from the 27th Corps, these guys are fully like geared up with pioneers, and we have so many pioneer battalions ready to be assigned to these guys. So they should be able to take out the fortifications pretty easily, but in reality I don't think that's really a possibility. We have a lot of forces, but also here in the north we are starting to look like it's very thinly spread. And them just moving here will probably cut our railway supplies, at least on this northerly route. If they are adjacent to a railway line, that already cuts supply. On the other hand, we are supplying them via this southerly route as well, and I think that's going to be okay. Linking up here would also be extremely nice. I mean, basically next turn we will be getting down here with our rail line units and up here. So in 2 turns we might actually link that up. But next turn will be Blizzard, so yeah, let's see about that. For now, thank you very much for watching, and next time we will be seeing whether we can really advance onto Moscow itself. For now, I see you next time. Bye bye.